GT4 category is really the introduction category. So in terms of race strategies, it's not as deep as the other categories. The GT4 series in the game only supports sprint races, so short races, and you don't have to manage as many things as you have to do in other categories. So it's the perfect introduction for the basic notions of racing management. It is also the opportunity where you can start small with, budget-wise with your team. So managing the budget and the financials is not as critical in GT4. But as you will grow, as you can see here, the costs increases from one category to the other one. And this is just a cost for the car, but you also have to have a bigger team. And a bigger team means bigger monthly costs for your budget. So the way it works is you have a budget for the year, and then you have to basically manage that budget. You can invest, but you have running costs anyway. So each race or each month you have monthly costs. So you have to perform quite well during the races in order to receive revenue from the races and to basically compensate for your costs. And now that we've introduced the different car categories, then we can have a look at what's going to be available in the early access. So as we mentioned, we keep discussing with many car manufacturers. You can expect new cars to be added within the next month. But for the early access, we have selected a list of cars, and we would like to introduce those cars to you today, and it will give you an idea of what you're going to get from day one of the early access. So you have that Audi RS3 Le Mans. You have two different models for this car. This is the factory model, but you also have a private team. So the way it works is when you start the game, you only have access to the factory cars. So within each category, like here in GT4, at the start, you have 5 different cars, one per car manufacturer. And as you play, you unlock new car models that you can also play yourself. So this second Audi RS3 is actually a private team. So it's a private team livery and decoration, but the car, the specs of the car is similar to the factory car. When we look at the different car stats, there are barely few differences between cars of the same category, because the performance should be fairly balanced for all cars to have equal chance to win races. So some cars are sometimes heavier than others. Other ones have more power. It depends if they are turbocharged or not. But the stats in the game are translated in a way that each car has a slight advantage, let's say in one stat like acceleration or top speed or cornering or handling, but they are all balanced. So at the end of the day, if you choose to play with a Lotus or an Audi or a Chevrolet, there's no winning car per category. It's like those cars are quite equivalent. Some cars are going to perform better on some tracks, but they are going to be weaker on other tracks. So we made sure that every car within a category is quite balanced. So you basically play the car that you like to play with, and not the one that you have to play in order to win.
Yeah. Just so this team, GDC Miller Motorsports, is a team racing in the Michelin Pilot Challenge, which is like a support series in the IMSA Sports Car Series, and they are leading this season. So also you will have the possibility to sign both of their drivers like in the game.
So let's look at more GT4 cars. So after the Audi, you have the Camaro GT4 Air. It's a rare car. Not so many teams are using that car, but it's a very cool car. So we wanted to feature that car, especially for players who are more in the North American region. But even here in Europe, we're very We really like that car. Next, we have the Lotus. So the Lotus Emira is probably the last thermic engine from Lotus. It is a car that has been released a couple of years ago now, and doing quite successfully in many local or national championships. For instance, within the British GT Championship and the French one, and so on. It is also a very cool car, and we have a private team as well running with the Lotus, which is the Maiki racing team. Do you want to tell us more about
Yeah,
that?
so this team is racing, as you said, in the British GT and also in the GT4 European Series. They started this year. So yeah, as you said, the Lotus Mirror GT4 started in competition last year, I think. But I won the races in China, for example. And so basically, this is the livery that the team races this season in both of those championships. And also, you'll have the possibility to sign 4 of their drivers in the game.
So next we have, of course, probably the most iconic car in the GT4 category, which is the Porsche Cayman GT4. This is the second version of the car. So this is the car that was introduced in 2022. So it's an evolution from the original model. So this is the manufacturer's livery and manufacturing car. I don't know, do we have a private
Yes, we
team
have
for the
a
Porsche?
private team,
Yeah.
GSB Competition, which is a French team with Florian Bréchet and Vinny Beltramelli. They're racing in both of the French FFSA GT4 and the GT4 European Series this season. So yeah, this is their 2024 livery, and yeah, basically.
And what do we have next?
We have this Saleen S1 GT4.
Another very cool GT4 car. Again, quite rare car in Europe, but Saleen has produced a few of those. And yeah, they are really, really cool cars. So this completes the roster for the GT4 category for the early access.